Well, hello, what's going on? It is Monsters of the Madhouse, the Chicago Sports Podcast. We are so happy to have you with us tonight. I'm Matt Cooper, along with my buddy Sean Lugo. Sean, it's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Trying to survive this heat wave we got going on in Chicago right
Woo!
now. It's brutal.
Yeah, well, brutal, man. Down here in Knoxville, I think we were talking a little bit before. I was looking at this weekend. It's supposed to be like 96 or 97, and I was like, that's a perfect time to go out to a beer festival.
That's right.
I bought my ticket and everything.
Keep that body temperature cool with some brews. I love it.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like you got to start like drinking water at some point. Like you can't just sit there and just drink out of that little glass they give you each time. You got to have some type of water in between. And I'm hoping they have water stations. They're going to have some type of water.
You're going to need a beer and a water, a beer and a water, a beer and a water. Because even at night, man, it's got to still be 80 degrees.
Oh, the humidity is yeah. And sometimes it's even worse when you have a couple in you and then that humidity kicks up on you. But you know what, Sean? I feel like we always find a way to still keep drinking at some point.
Hell yeah. Drink until the fest is over.
Oh yeah, man. So and a lot of us planning out our trips and stuff over the next couple of weeks. So this is just a fun time of the year. So we thank you guys so much watching on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel. You can like and subscribe, and we would really appreciate that. People already checking in. I say hello to Bruce. What's going on, Bruce? We got Patty checking in as well. And Cliff saying you got to move to Florida. It's cooler down here. The humidity in Florida, man, that's no joke either.
Oh, God, no. My buddy actually just came back from there. He was there for the last week, and he was like, dude, I could never live here with that humidity. It's unbelievable, man.
I love it, though, man. It is. I know it's the heat, the humidity. I just love this. I just love it because I love being outside and being by the pool, although you got to be careful at the same time.
You know what? I'm a summer guy. I've born and raised in Chicago. I absolutely hate the winters with all of my heart.
Oh, so do I.
So I'm a Florida guy at some point. I think my daughter's got to graduate high school, and then my wife will let me go.
Well, dude. You can start planning it out now as we talk Chicago sports tonight. Well, so thank you guys so much for watching. We're talking about the Bears, the biggest need going into the 24th season, and Sean, we're here already. It's June 9th. I cannot believe it's already June 9th.
I know,
and we're only a month away from training camp. Can you believe that?
No, man. I was looking at the training camp report that came out. There's actually like 4 or 5 teams. I thought it was going to only be the Bears that came in on the 16th of July, but there's a few teams. I think the Chiefs are one of them. There's a few teams getting going. So, and it's like, it's here. It's coming. Like everything we've been talking about, it's about to materialize in front of our eyes.
I know. And that's what's the beauty of this time of the year. We do want to thank our friends at Bridges Scoreboard, by the way. That's in Northwest Indiana, for making this all possible for our show tonight. You can check them out. Perfect place to watch the game. That's at bridgesscoreboard.com. We talk a lot, Sean, on this show, and I see Diffuse211 also saying, already chiming in, talking about the biggest need is the 3 technique, most important position on defense. Hopefully, Dexter's the answer moving forward. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But I still think as we go into this year and we see all of our upgrades, and there's a ton of them, a lot of upgrades through free agency, through the draft. And our team looks a lot better compared to this time last year. It just does. And we got players that have been playing in the league for a while at a high level, high leverage situations around the league. And I like what we've done so far. But when you look at it, not just on defense, we'll talk about defense here in a second, because I think we can all agree we probably need another defensive end.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about that on these shows. But I haven't talked a lot about the offensive line on these shows. I still don't know what we have on our offensive line. Do I think we've upgraded? Yes. But do I feel confident in that? I don't know. I still question. I'm like, do we have the right guys in place? And depending on injury history with some of them. But when you take a look at this, Sean, so on the offensive line in general, is there anywhere do you think that needs to be upgraded, or just a biggest need going into 2024?
I'm still looking at the interior part of that offensive line. When I'm sitting there looking at Ryan Bates and Nate Davis. Nate Davis I've been a big supporter of his, and thinking that, hey, man, this is a one-year thing. I'm just not a big fan of I don't like the practice. This line needs some cohesiveness together, and it's starting to really annoy me as a fan. I just like, dude, get out there with your teammates, get off the damn bike, earn your contract. We paid you well. And I'm honestly just not sure about this Ryan Bates experiment. And the great news that came out today was that Connor Williams is ready, should be ready. He said he will pass a physical. I am a little worried because he's had 2 ACL surgeries, and I know that Poles is not big on signing injured players. But you got to look at this. When Bates was starting center for that little time, I think it was 35 snaps for the Bills. He was awful. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, in Shelton. Now I look at Shelton and I say, I look at a guy who's started almost 2,000 snaps. Not the best center, but at least he has the experience to help the rookie quarterback. I don't think anyone is the answer, but I think it is time for the Bears to really, really think about going after Connor Williams. It would be an immediate upgrade for this offense, man. Offensive line, and a huge help for Caleb Williams.
You know what's interesting about Bates? And I mean, we remember we tried to sign him in free agency. What was that, 2 years ago? Yeah. It was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Right when the new regime took over.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be one of the big moves. Man, think of that for a second. When they first took over, I get off track for a second, but when you first take over, when they first took over, they tried to sign Bates, and then remember it was Ogunjobi they tried to sign too.
Yes.
And then he got hurt, and I think we lucked out on that one.
Yeah, we did.
Even though he was pretty good, but I think with Bates, they've always wanted him. They always saw something special in him. So he signs that contract to go back to the Bills, and then the Bills end up trading him. Now, the Bills had some salary cap problems for this year, and they had to clear up some space. So if you look at their team, the Bills are going to be a little bit different this year. They've lost some people. They had to let some people go, and I think they're trying to do a little bit of a rebuild on the fly while trying to be in that window when they got their star quarterback.
Yeah.
But I also say at the same time, when it comes to certain teams around the league, like the Bills, and then there's other teams, I don't know, like the Steelers, or if you look in baseball, like the Braves. If there's some of these teams that are letting you go or trying to get rid of you, I know football is a little bit different. I sometimes will question that just a little bit. But I have questions too, because I thought Bates was more so of a guard than he was of a center.
As a matter of fact, he has 843 starts at guard and only 203 starts at center position, and that's what's kind of confusing to me. Like, you know, they said he's our starting center. You signed Shelton, who obviously is not a Pro Bowl center, but an obviously more established NFL center than Ryan Bates. So just anointing Bates seems a little weird to me. But they did say, and I believe it was Eberflus who said that they're going to go into training camp and it's going to be a full-blown competition. And I really hope that to be true. If they don't sign Connor Williams, if he can pass this physical, because originally they said he wasn't going to be ready for camp and maybe not till midseason. So this is a big shocking news development story that came out today, that his agent's like, hey, he'll pass a physical. He'll be ready for training camp in a month. Hey, he was a Pro Bowl and probably, if not the best center, he was one of the top 3 centers in the league before he got hurt. And I know he started as a right guard as well with the Cowboys for 4 years, and he just switched to center 2 years ago. But still, he switched to center and became a much better player because, I mean, I think he graded out at a 90 overall as the center position on PFF. So he's got to be doing something right there.
Well, I think for us Bears fans, we hope so that he's doing something right. Hey, Buckley, do we have you, man?
We do. How you doing, guys?
What's going on, Ed? How you doing, man?
Good.
Thanks for coming on the show tonight. We're happy to have you on. Thanks for everybody, too, that's watching us. You could like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, on our YouTube page. Everybody watching the chat tonight. You know, Ed, Sean and I are talking about some of the biggest needs going into the 24th season. We started right with the offensive line. Listen, we're going to get to the defensive line in a second, but we've talked a lot about that.
I've been with you, fellas. I've heard every word.
Awesome. So is there anywhere else that you think on the offensive line? We were talking about the center position as a need.
Yep. And I think that cat from the Rams is going to end up being there, and I think Bates is going to be at one of the guard positions because I'm like more than losing. I'm more losing faith in our man as you. Which I don't know what's up with him, but if he doesn't practice, he ain't gonna get better. And he wasn't worth the shit last year. So if you don't get out there and get busy, he's not gonna make the starting lineup.
You're referring to Nate Davis?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree. Get off that damn bike.
How'd you know who I was talking about?
Work with your teammates, man. Let's get it going.
Yeah, he's.
I think.
I don't know what's up with him.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a question mark. He was a question mark last year. I felt like when we started last year, we had that question mark, and I think there was reasons at the time that the Titans let go of him, and I feel like it was some of the same stuff. I would have to go back and take a look again, but I feel like it was some of the same stuff
It might
that
have
we're
been
going
work
through right
ethic.
now. Yeah, the work ethic.
Like, he doesn't seem to like to work.
But you don't, but Sean, you don't need that in the NFL, man.
Yeah, right. I think we learned. I was envisioning this because I really hope that Tevin Jenkins can stay on the field, because if he does, he's one of the best left guards. You get
I
him
agree.
signed. You get
Hey guys, I've said this on the podcast before, and I'll tell you guys the same thing, and I don't lie. Jenkins going to play all 17 games.
God, I hope so. I hope so.
I don't lie, man.
If they could sign Connor Williams, they would have a line all under the age of 27 with a potential of 3 Pro Bowlers on it in Williams, Jenkins, and Wright. Now you're cooking with gas. I don't know what we have to do to get Connor Williams here, but I'm going to pray every night until he signs with the team.
I think we should just have Nate Davis play center and guard. Go on my FanDuel app right now and start making my bets.
Yeah, I like the age of the team all the way across the board. If it wasn't for Mercedes Lewis, I think we'd be one of the top 3 probably youngest teams in the league. But Mercedes really puts us somewhere towards middling. But I don't mind it because I like having them.
Too, I think Connor Williams is going to cost a little bit. But at the same time, if you really, really think about it, we're not going to have to pay a quarterback for 4 years at least, maybe 5. So we have a little money to toy around with here. I can't get my mind off that guy possibly coming to the Bears and how much of a difference that would be for this offensive line.
Have they been talking to him? I haven't heard.
There's no confirmed reports.
No
that the
confirmed
Bears
reports
are talking to him, but they said there's multiple teams talking with him. So
right, and even in the chats here too, guys. Cliff says we need to take anything PFF says with a grain of salt.
For sure.
Chicago Sports Podcast. I want to see Williams hike the ball to Williams all season long with Bates at right guard. I think that's a good possibility that we're going to probably see that.
Yeah, 100%.
13. Cliff says. Let's see. Up Cliff right now says probably $13 million a year or so.
Yeah.
Dr.
We got that still.
Yep.
Yes, we do have that. Happy June. Yeah, today is Juneteenth. So yes, happy Juneteenth to everybody out there today. Chicago Sports Podcast. They can work it out with Cliff, and that's what we're hoping for. So it's going to be interesting to see, because this is going to be our question mark. Can our offensive line stay cohesive, and can we get the right people in place? Because you just brought it up. About Tevin Jenkins, who's my favorite player on the offensive line. He's my favorite player, and when that guy is healthy, that dude's a badass. And
yeah, I like him too.
You made him. Yeah, you made that statement saying that he's going to stay healthy for all 17 games. Say that one more time.
I don't lie. Yeah, all 17 games. I'm tired of hearing people say about when healthy. They always, every time they mention his name, it's when healthy. Quit that shit. He's playing all 17.
God, I hope so, man. If he does, he'll definitely be
he's healthier than a horse. He's healthier than Ben his whole life.
Thank you guys for watching Chicago Sports Podcast tonight. We're talking about a healthy Tevin Jenkins tonight. That's
there you go.
17 games this year, man. We're going to bear down, and we're going to go game by game. We're going to follow him along, man, along with Nate Davis. Nate Davis is going to play right guard all 17 games this year.
Oh, boy. I don't know about that.
now I don't know.
I don't know if we want that.
Now we're going to have people panicking in the chat room when they start hearing. So what about our tackle position too, guys? So we kind of went over our center. We went over our guards. And now we can talk about our tackles. Do you have all the confidence in the world? I know I like the trajectory of Jones. And I think he could be a solid player. But at the same time, do I think he's a top 10 tackle? I don't know the answer to that question. I think we're going to have
Yeah, you do. He's not.
As I said, I was trying to be nice. Listen, I was just trying to be nice here and saying we got to see if this year can possibly play out without saying no. This guy is not going to be a top 10 tackle.
I would say he's middle tier, but I think our right tackle's probably going to fall somewhere in the top 10, if not top 5 this year.
I believe you're right.
So, but that's going to be the most important. Those tackles positions, and even with our, I mean, everybody on our offensive line. When you got a rookie quarterback coming into the league for the first time, it's going to be very, very important that these guys stay on the field. As much as we joke around, is Jenkins going to play 17 games this year? Is Davis going to play right guard? At the same time, we got to figure this out because these guys need to be out there every single game to have our quarterback in the best position to win.
You know, too, I think Tevin Jenkins being healthy next to Braxton Jones helps Braxton Jones immensely. He has a lot better games if you look at his tape when Jenkins is there, because I've said this for a long time. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And our weakest link has been center for a very long time. I mean, it's been center, right guard, left guard. I mean, it's been it all at some point or another. But as we've improved, it seems like they've still neglected the center position to get someone there that can really help. I mean, I just don't think these two guys are going to help Caleb Williams, and that's what scares me the most. It's like, you know, reading blitzes and changing plays, recognizing things to help him out. I just don't see it with I mean, more so with Shelton, because he's played 2 years with the Rams behind a Pro Bowl quarterback in Matthew Stafford, than I do with Ryan Bates, for the love of Christ. Oh, it'll be an interesting camp battle.
At least our weakest link isn't our whole offensive line, which we've surely had before.
Oh, we've gone 2 years ago. We could have that conversation.
Yeah,
you know, sports podcast. I didn't even realize this. He's our 7th most paid player on our team. That's Nate Davis.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
He better get off the bike.
Yeah, we're paying him very well for what very little he's given us. I liked him when I was reading about him when they signed him, and what everybody was saying about him. And as soon as he got on the field, because he started out the season hurt, but as soon as he got on the field, I didn't like him anymore, and I haven't liked him ever since. And he's making me like him less every day.
I do remember coming out of Tennessee, though, they did say that a majority of the runs for Derrick Henry were directly behind Nate Davis. So they did have some confidence in him with the run game, but I don't know. I don't follow Tennessee Titans in the offseason, so I don't know what his work ethic was there. So he's the biggest mystery on this team right now.
Well, Sean, you don't follow. Does anybody out there follow the Tennessee Titans? Are there any Tennessee Titans fans out there?
They're going to start chiming in a second.
If you watch any of their games, yeah, they're going to start coming in.
Get out of here.
If you go to any of their games, man, it's all the opposing team's fans. If you ever watch, when you watch any of the Titans games. So, but it's interesting because I look at here. If we were to release him, it would be a dead cap, which is bad. No, we don't want the dead cap hit. So when you sign somebody like Nate Davis the way they signed him, you're having him for at least. Yeah, I don't know the specifics of the contract, but you know you're having him for at least 2 years without taking that huge hit.
Yeah, it would be a huge hit this year, so we can't really cut. I mean, I'm about to say we can't really cut him. We could. I mean, if he just. We're not going to save shit, but if he's so bad that we need a roster spot for somebody else, he'll get cut.
So
even if we just bite the bullet and pay it, I mean, if he does play and he doesn't improve on last year, he will not be here next year because it only costs us $2 million to get dead cap to get rid of him next year. But this year's we're basically paying him the 10.
And he got a $6 million signing bonus, 19 million guaranteed, and an average salary of 10 million a year.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money, man, for a guard.
Yeah.
But I say it's a lot of money for a guard, but that's probably about the paying rate for a guard in the NFL. Right?
Probably,
as everything keeps going up, and anything's possible by the way.
For a quality veteran guard, yeah, and we haven't got that out of him. He's a veteran, but hasn't been quality. And hey, look, he had some major personal problems along with injuries last year. A lot of people gave him the pass. I think when you get that money to play football, that much money, It's your job, your profession, right? And you got to work through that stuff. But uh, he got no good excuses in my book this year. So whoever gave him a pass last year, don't owe it to him this year.
I will tell you this. I'm looking at it right now. The Bears are not cutting this guy. He's an $11.3 million cap hit this year and $11.5 million cap hit next year. He ain't going anywhere.
No, and especially now that with all the free agents they've signed.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Ed?
Yeah, that's his cap hit if they keep him.
Yeah.
But that's not his cap hit if they dump him.
If they dump him, it's $2 million next year.
Right.
Okay, so that's more feasible then.
Right.
Yeah, this year it's 12.75.
You're not.
Right.
You're not
So they save 9.
Yeah.
Next year, right? That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't show some major improvement this year, they're not paying him that much money next year.
You know what's interesting too? I was just thinking about this. And I know it's a different sport when it comes to baseball and football. You got the salary cap in football, but I think anything's possible now. When you see a guy like Jose Abreu get cut, about 4 or 5 days ago with a $30 million, where he still owed like $30 million. I think teams are so much more inclined now to teams that want to win, that are going to try and win. If there's somebody on that team that's not going to help them, I don't think they're going to matter by cutting a certain player. But baseball is different than football, but when it comes to the salary cap. But I also think that could happen in football too. More often.
It has happened more often lately. It used to be you'd never cut a guy that you're paying that much money, and you would have to pay even if you let him go. But yeah, it's happening more often in the league nowadays. And I'm for that, man.
Yeah,
he ain't helping. If he ain't helping, that roster spot's somebody wants it and wants to play and wants to help.
You guys are watching the Chicago Sports Podcast, Monsters of the Madhouse. You can like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And we want to thank you guys for watching tonight. You guys can also check out River Street Tavern. That is in East Dundee. And this is the perfect time of the year as the summertime. Go grab some food, go grab some drinks. There's nothing better, especially after you work all day long. That's a perfect place to go to. Grab some food and hang out with your friends at River Street Tavern.
I was just there last night.
There's no other guy that can explain it better than Sean on our show today. This guy is an expert when it goes out to having a couple of beers and eating some really good food, and he could tell you all the advice. So you should hit him up on his Facebook page. Thank you guys for watching. We're talking about the Bears tonight. We're talking about their biggest need going into the 24 season. Before we leave tonight, too, I also want to talk a little bit about we got our Cubs guy Sean on here tonight too. I want to talk about the games here the last couple of days before we had the show. So I think there's a little bit of a they look a little bit better and a little bit, but I think there's at least some hope that we can talk about. When we talk about some other needs that I think this team has, we just broke the offensive line. We just talked about the offensive line. And a lot of talk is also, guys, about the defense, about we need another edge rusher. We need another guy to get to the quarterback on the opposite end of Montez Sweat. And I like the players that we have on our team. I mean, I like DeMarcus Walker. I think he's a good player. I like Javon Dexter, our tackles. Pickens showed some promise too. But are we labeling these guys? Walker, by the way, another four. I hear talk about the Titans. Are we talking about these guys in context to playmakers when rushing the quarterback, or are they type of role players that are rushing to the quarterback? Because I still think we need another guy on that other at the other side.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm really hoping Booker is going to be that guy. I know we've mentioned this before. What was Mark Anderson's rookie year came out of nowhere with those 12 and a half sacks. I don't know if he can have that kind of an impact, but if he can get 6 as a rookie, I don't think that's a crazy number to throw out there. I still think they're going to try and add someone. Isn't Clowney still a free agent? I know Campbell just got signed.
Clowney went to the Panthers.
Clowney's on the Panthers. So they're running out of names. So it is a major need as long with the 3 technique. But at this point, I don't know where they're going to go. I think they're going to believe in what they have. And Dominic Robinson hasn't been cut yet. I read just the other day they're hoping that he could break out this year. I don't know break out of what, but we'll see. I don't know if they're going to go any free agent answers. I know he's been pulling these late deals out of his butt pulls, and I'm hoping it's the Connor Williams late deal here. But I don't think they're going to change anything defensively. I mean, Carl Lawson, I think, is he still out there?
Carl Lawson is still out there now. He's not the same player. So when we're talking about some of these players that are out there, we got to grant it. There's a reason why some of these guys are still out there. Carl Lawson, who once was a really good player, especially when he was on the bank. When he was the year he was on the Bengals, man, that was the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he was a fantastic player, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit, which I think he would be a good fit too. But I think you got to be careful too when you start bringing some of these guys that are still out there, because I think they're still out there for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, and they're getting a look in these mini camps and stuff at their rookies, their second year guys that were rookies last year. See how they've come along, and some of these undrafted free agents now. That Rudolph from Illinois, he was undrafted, right? But
Keith
he
Randolph?
was,
Is it Randolph or Rudolph?
Randolph, maybe, yeah. From Illinois, he was he's a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Right, and he was supposedly going to go in like the 5th or 6th round. Why he didn't go, I don't know what the story on that was, but he could be promising. And I'm like you, Sean. I like Booker a lot. I think he could do something. You guys remember a guy named Richard Dent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was eighth round draft pick.
Yep.
So we could have found a gem there, and of course we're Bears fans. We're hoping that, right? But I'm not going to make you any promises like Booker's going to be playing lights out. But I got a good feeling about him. I think that and so like I say, they're getting a good look at these guys. As you can bet they're still looking at possible 3-tech or edge, and like you guys said, the good names are running out, but maybe they're looking at the guys they got and going, yeah, I think we can work with this,
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a pretty strong sign that they have a lot of confidence in these guys that they haven't signed anybody else, or they didn't go and draft higher for a defensive end, or I call it the scrap heap right now where players are at.
Yeah.
But you know what else is also going to happen here too, guys, is I think eventually as we get closer to training camp and we get more into it, there's going to be certain teams out there that are going to start looking to trade some of their players away. I don't know if you're going to get that impact player. I think it might be a little too late for that, but maybe that's something that they're looking at as well, because that has happened in the past.
Yeah. And Poles is pretty good at picking up people, not only in that fashion, but people that get dumped when it come time to get down to 53 guys, and you got too many. A lot of teams do, and they might be looking at a couple of guys that they think are going to be available last minute. I want to try to snag them.
Yeah, man, and it'll be fun because I think it's going to happen not only with what we're going to be looking at, but it's going to be the word out there with a lot of other teams as well. Chicago Sports Podcast. After the debt came in lazy and Buddy made them, and others cry their own ways. Huge transformation when it comes to the culture. I think that's a good thing. What we have here with our team right now is the culture looks like it's fantastic. Looks like we have a very good culture.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Everything looks great with this team. Looks like they're going to be ready to go for training camp. I look a little bit more on the depth of this team. We talked a little bit about the defensive line, and I think the other position, because I think our biggest needs going into the season, I think we really got a lot of our starters in place outside of the offensive line, but we have a lot of our starters in place. It really is about the depth now. I think we could start looking a little bit more into the depth.
Yeah.
And the only other position I could see, not even the cornerbacks, but maybe the safety position. If one of our guys go out, like I love Brisker. Brisker's a great player.
Yeah.
I think Baird coming from the Eagles. I was going to say the Titans, but he got traded to the Eagles last year. A little bit older of a player. And he didn't play well with the Eagles last year as well when he went there. But I think this is a good place for him to be. He can kind of get into a new situation. Then you got Jonathan Owens and Elijah Hicks behind them. I don't know. I think if we have any questions or if any of our safeties go down, this might be the other position I look at that our depth might be a little bit weak at.
Yeah, isn't Owens the kid from the Packers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Elijah Hicks was a draft pick. He actually showed a little bit. I mean, in his limited time last year. I mean, he wasn't great jumping off the page or anything, but yeah, I've been so enamored with just seeing the front guys. I never even looked at the depth behind the safeties this year because I'm just like, can these guys just stay healthy? Byron doesn't miss any games though. That guy's like barely missed any games in his entire NFL career, so that's hopefully a good sign for us. He doesn't come to Chicago and he falls apart.
Easy. Easy, man.
But I think one thing we do know will happen in the NFL is injuries will happen. Yeah. Sometimes you're luckier than others. So it depends what year it is. You just never know. And I think it's that depth that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Because, listen, is this team going to win 12, 13 games next year? Probably not. Now, I'd be surprised, and I hope they do, which would be amazing if they do with a rookie quarterback. It'd be insane if they won it with a rookie quarterback, even with all the players they signed. But I think a lot of us, when we take a look at this team, we have what, about 7, 8, 9 wins probably for next year.
I'm right in there.
But I think
I like 10. I like 10.
You like 10?
I think we'll squeeze 11, but I like 10.
I'm 9 to 10 as well. Those first 10 games. I mean, honestly, those first 10 games, they should win 6 of those games. I mean, at least. I mean, the schedules. You're playing how many rookie quarterbacks? I mean, you're playing Daniels, or we're playing Drake. Oh no, we're playing Washington. We're playing Daniels. We're playing Drake May. We're playing Bryce Young. I mean, these are games we should win. I mean, is anyone sold on Will Levis on opening day? I mean, he's got a lot of weapons, but I'm not sold on him as a quarterback that's going to tear a defense apart. Not yet, anyways.
It's the lightest schedule we've had in a long time, and it's one of the best talent-wise teams that we've ever had.
I agree.
You know what's I think the first game is so interesting with the Titans.
I do too.
Because I'll be honest. I listen. If you look on between both teams, the Bears have the better roster. I think they got the better players on that team. But I think the Titans upgraded in so many different positions, kind of like the Bears did.
Yep.
And I don't know what their quarterback's going to be like, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know what our quarterback's going to be like.
That's right.
I have no idea what to expect. Like you don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, those. For sure. They have Pollard and Spears at the running back position, and then they have Boyd, Hopkins, Burks, and who's the other one? Calvin Ridley. I mean,
Calvin Ridley, yeah.
They're definitely loaded, and that's week 1 is going to be a test for the secondary. Now, Will Levis as well, because again, we don't know what he is. He had a couple of good moments last year, but week 1, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than what people think.
Yeah, Pollard's a badass. He's one of the most underrated running backs in the league. He's a badass.
Yeah, and Spears is really good and really fast.
You know what's funny? I can't remember. There was somebody on one of our shows, one of our team members that said Pollard was overrated. I can't remember who it was.
Overrated?
Overrated. Yeah,
no.
I can't remember. Yeah, he was on our. It was one of our guys. It was on. We did a show together. I can't remember who it was. Said he was overrated, and I was like, I don't know about that. I was very impressed with the way that guy ran the
ball. Pollard's underrated, if anything.
I think he's pretty solid, man. I think him and Spears are going to be a lot of problems for a lot of people. I really like Tajay Spears a lot. He's elusive. He's sneaky.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for the Bears in week 1. A lot tougher, I'm telling you, than what people are getting. It's not just an automatic win like I've been hearing from our diehards. It's going to be a tough ball game.
We got Cliff up there saying it right now. It should be a win. Yeah, you're right. It should be a win. Right. I think it should be a win. But it's such an interesting situation when we have a quarterback that's going on to play for his first NFL game, and Levis coming back and playing. I just don't know. So Well,
It feels weird not starting with the Packers, don't it?
I'm kind of glad we're not. I don't want to see them yet.
No,
I don't want to see them until we get a couple wins.
yeah,
I don't care. I like playing the Packers anytime.
I want Caleb Williams to get some experience under his belt so he can lay the wood to these guys when we play him.
Chicago Sports Podcast. I think they said that Pollard fell off a little bit last year, and he probably did take a step back a little bit. But I still like the way he plays. So he's a hard runner, and
Man,
they're going to need him this year. Thank you guys for watching Chicago Sports Podcast tonight. Monsters of the Madhouse on YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. We want to thank our friends at TC's Wonders, World of Wonders, which is in Louisville, and they have your jerseys for everything right now. You need your jersey for football season because, as we were just saying, it's not that far away. Get it now. You don't want to wait until it starts. You don't want to wait until the last minute. You can do that. TC'sWorldOfWonders.com. And we appreciate you guys joining us tonight, Monsters at the Madhouse. We got a few minutes left here in tonight's show, talking about the Bears going into the 24 season. Did I miss anything, guys? So we kind of went over the offensive line.
Hey, sorry. I just and we're spending too much time on Pollard, but I just want to say one more thing about Pollard. He reminds me of a guy. You know this guy, DeAndre Swift?
Yeah,
I've heard of him.
He reminds me of that guy.
Yeah, he plays for some team. He plays for the Eagles, right?
Yeah. He's gonna be. I'm hoping because he's got the potential to be. He could be the spark plug of that whole offense, man. I like him a lot too.
No, Bears will break him in week 1.
Come on, man.
We'd be counter, man. Yeah, he's gonna be coming in like, man, why did I come here for?
I love this question that Cliff. I want to see if Love gets 4,000 yards again, or if teams have figured him out like they did with Trubisky. I'm not sold on Love. I'm not. I know he had a great year last year, but I'm still not sold on that guy. I think he might be a little bit overrated, but he could prove me wrong this year. I hope he doesn't. But
I think go ahead, Ed.
He did better than I surely expected and hoped. And with a young group of receivers that weren't like, high draft picks, but they're all young. They're all drafted by them. And I think the receivers made him maybe look better than he is. And even though they're not supposed to be studs, that receiver room for Green Bay, I think, is more of the reason why they did so well than their quarterback.
I love some Jaden Reed.
Oh yeah, he looks like he's going to be a stud. He looks like he could be a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And they also have a great coach, by the way, too, that knows how to call an offense.
Unfortunately, we have to say that.
Yeah,
we got to admit it, right?
I think he's a big reason why that team played the way they did last year. That guy knows. Yeah, I think we could say that guy knows what he's doing. When he's
I'll say this. Even though I think their team took a step back talent-wise, Kevin O'Connell still may have Minnesota humming a little bit. He does. That offense is stacked with Jefferson and Hawkinson and Addison.
Yeah.
I don't know if what's his nuts. Sam Darnold is the guy to.
I thought I saw something today where he was still going to be listed as their starting quarterback going into next year. I could have sworn I saw. I was trying to find the source of that right before we got on the show. After I watched J.J. McCarthy throw that pitch for the Twins today, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen for a first pitch being. If you guys want to watch something for a first pitch being thrown, you got to go watch J.J. McCarthy earlier today before the Twins game because it was that bad.
I got this out.
Not saying that I would ever do any better. I would probably be that one seeing that. But I thought I saw something outside of that Sam Darnold's going to be their quarterback, but it wouldn't surprise me if he is though. I think that's why they brought him in. Hey
man, if Jared Goff can succeed, and I never thought Jared Goff was a terrible quarterback, but he's obviously taken his game to another level. I think I think the Lions are definitely going to benefit from, I think, what they got 87% of their games in a dome or on turf. they're really going to benefit, and I think that's bullshit that they don't have to play outside.
Well, Jared Goff plays behind the best offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not gonna disagree with that.
That helps. That helps a lot.
And
Vinny Sewell is a badass, man.
he's incredible. His technique, his toughness.
Mhm.
He's one of the best tackles in the league.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's going to be a fun year this year, guys, because I think it's going to be a tough division. I do think the Lions are going to be a really good team again. And,
I think the Lions will probably win the division. I do, unless some things go horribly wrong.
their offensive coordinator coming back was a big deal, man.
Yeah.
And that I think was a killer. That
Huge. I did not expect Ben Johnson to return. I did not.
Hey, I will tend to agree, but if you remember, one so long ago, just last year, we spanked the Lions both games. We gave them one back.
We did.
We gave them one back, but we spanked them twice. Spanked them.
We dominated them for 7 quarters.
Right.
So Cliff kind of telling what I was talking about earlier. It's Darnold. His career hasn't been great. Usually around 50 to 60% completions, with around 2,000 yards. So I do think it's unless McCarthy lights it up in the world for training camp. I do think it's going to be Darnold.
That dude doesn't put fear in the defense. I can tell you that, in any defense.
You know, I ran across this today, and I really wanted to bring it up really quick before we move on from the Bears. The Bears in the third quarter. Do you guys ever follow Warren Sharp football at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He posted this yesterday. He goes, if the Bears games ended in 3 quarters, the Bears would have been 10-6 last year, 625 win percentage, the 8th most wins in the NFL. They outgained their opponents by 430 yards through 3 quarters. They ranked 10th in total line to scrimmage GPA offensive defense through 3 quarters. 4th quarter. The Bears in the 4th quarter of games had 14 turnovers, most in the NFL, 10 interceptions, most in the NFL, were outgained by 446 yards, 2nd worst in the NFL, wound up minus 50.7 total EPA, first worst, number 1 and worst in the NFL. They finished 4th place in the division. So if we can fix the 4th quarter, we're onto something.
You know what? So I got a theory about that. I really do believe. Now, you guys got to admit that year before last, we tanked purposely. You know it. We all know it.
Yes, I agree.
Poles tore the team down to the nubs, man, and if we were close to being in a game, we'd do something coaching wise stupid. It was obvious.
We call that the Getsy effect.
Right.
Yeah, it was Getsy effect.
Now, my personal opinion is that halfway through the first half of last season, we did the same thing.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I was at that Denver game.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. We were handing it to Denver.
Also fun for 3 quarters.
Yes, just like the damn Detroit game, the first Detroit game, right?
Yeah.
And look, it was, we imploded, right, in the last 3 minutes of the third quarter and all of the fourth quarter, and there's like no way with the calls that were being made and consistently playing a prevent type defense, even as they were coming back and just marching right down on us. We don't change nothing, and we let them do it again. Come on, man. We weren't trying to win that game. You can't make me believe that I know our guys out there ain't just gonna lay down, but the coaches called the game to lose.
They did, 100%.
And that's another reason why I think Foose is still here. Because he did exactly what they told him to do. Everybody's looking at his record and blah, blah, blah. No, he did exactly what they told him to do, and you can't get fired for that.
You knew what he was getting into.
Yep.
So, thank you guys for watching Chicago Sports Podcast, Monsters of the Madhouse. It's been fun to have you guys on tonight. Thank you for those of you joining the chat. Like and subscribe, and check out our YouTube page. We have our shows up there, our past shows that you guys can watch, and we got more coming up here over the next couple of days. We got a couple of minutes left here tonight, guys. Before we head out, I want to pick your brain a second. There's Sean, our big Cubs fan, who's one of the bigger Cubs fans that I know. It's his favorite team too, outside of the Bears. With a win today. The Cubs had a win today. They had a win yesterday. So they take a couple of games. They finally win a series. Sean, is this what they – now, listen, they made it interesting today because I still don't know. They could have a 5-run lead going into the 8th inning, and I'm still not sold that they're going to – I'm still not sold that they're going to win the game or not. But is this something that they absolutely – listen, the San Francisco Giants, they're not very good this year. They're having a really bad year. They're struggling. They can't – nothing's working out for them. So this is a series that I think if they would have lost, I would have started sounding the alarm. Like, okay,
Oh yeah.
there's something that's really off with this team, and there's not a lot of time that you have to fix this. So do you feel a little bit better today after winning a series, Sean?
No, not much. It just really comes down to, like you just said, I don't know what's going on with Counsell, because I probably would have went to Tyson Miller first instead of Mark Leiter, who's been really laboring over his last 3 or 4 appearances. And Miller was playing very well. There's no one to give the ball to in that bullpen that you trust at any point. I mean, the game we lost, the first game of the series, should have swept them. We get that big home run from Happ. I mean, dude, I let the biggest exhale out when he hit that home run. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what this team needed. I mean, that was a titanic blast. And they turn around, Neris just There is no fixing this team. I mean, I guess if they can start hitting, I guess Merriweather's back. He threw 26 pitches the other day. You get Palencia back. It's just so frustrating because you watch these guys and you watch Justin Steele, who over his past 5 starts got a 114 earned run average, pitching very well, and everyone said, oh, he's washed up. But that game in Tampa Bay, when he came out in the 7th inning, they showed him when the bullpen blew the game. And that looked like a defeated man, even though he did come back and pitch well just against the Giants. But this is what's happening. I mean, these starters are pitching their brains out for this team. And, this goes back to Jed. You didn't do enough. There's not enough here. And they're still hesitant to call up these guys. Like, here, you want to know why they're serious about losing? Because you just brought Miles Mastroboni back to this team.
I saw that.
Terrible baseball player. I mean, if I could find one Cub fan that can tell me one good thing that this dude has done since he's been on the Cubs the last 2 years, I'd have to fact check it because I don't remember anything. This guy's terrible at baseball. I don't feel really good. I think they're going to wind up 75 wins, and I had them in 88. I mean, in 75, I'd be stretching.
Even a mediocre division like that, and I'm not going to even – it's a mediocre division. I think the Brewers are a good team. I'm not going to call them mediocre. Now, I don't know if they're going to sustain it for this long because they still have a lot of young players in that lineup and in the pitching staff. But they're a good team. I look at – I still just mind-boggled, and I'm not the Cubs fan of this group, but I watch a lot of their games. I'm just mind-boggled to see where they're at right now, to see how much they've underachieved in some of their position players.
You know what? I said it last week when we were talking about this. I think this was a group that really overachieved last year. And they're way underachieving this year because they're not hitting their averages. A lot of them were over their averages. I mean, Belly was hitting 300 for most of the year. I mean, today, twice, I think he left, 8 or 9 guys on base today? Came up with the bases loaded, hits a little fielder's choice. It's like, this guy's the guy who's supposed to be leading this team. You come up in these situations, and he's doing this over and over and over. You hope at some point, and the Cubs have done this the last couple of years, they get to the All-Star break, and they hit the switch, and they start playing better. The starting pitching can't get better. So everybody
has great.
But yeah, I'm mind-boggled by this team. I don't understand how they're the worst defensive team in baseball with running out 4 Gold Glovers every day. It makes no sense.
That's another thing is they've taken a step back defensively this year, which you didn't expect.
Here, I'll tell you 2 things that really bothered me about the development here. If you wanted to make Christopher Morel a third baseman, you probably should have started that project last year. And if you wanted to switch Morel or switch Amaya into a full-time catching position, you probably shouldn't have had him playing every 12 to 15 games last year and gave him more MLB experience. Because you're basically running 2 rookies out of 2 positions when you're trying to tell us you're trying to compete. You're full of shit.
The only reason why I brought the Cubs up because I wanted to see Sean get upset tonight.
Yeah, I think he just got there.
It's so frustrating, dude, because they're not this bad, but they're like,
It's a good thing they didn't lose a series to the Giants because then I think you would have started drinking a little bit early for the weekend.
I will tell you this though, man. Any Cub fans that are on here that keep knocking Michael Bush need to stop because this kid is the 6th best first baseman statistically in baseball. It came out today. They put up the numbers. I mean, he's got a 1.6 WAR. You got Bryce Harper, who's number 1 at 2.7. I mean, he's not Bryce Harper. He's a rookie with a 1.6 WAR. I mean, this guy, and he's red hot right now. He's red hot. 348 over his past 12 games.
I agree with you. You got to keep him playing too. I know he went for a little bit. He had a little bit of a slump there, but the whole lineup had a little bit. So
you're a rookie though. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. That's going to happen.
He's super talented, man.
I'm a big fan. So it's going to be fun to see here what the Cubs will do this weekend. I'm not going to even bring the White Sox up, guys, because we know what they're going to be doing. It's not probably going to be winning any ball games anytime soon. We're talking about the young players and who they trade here the next couple of weeks, so we're going to keep an eye on that. So thank you guys for watching tonight's Chicago Sports Podcast. Thank you guys all in the chat. Want to say hello to our friends at Serendipity Ice Cream. This is the perfect time. We were just talking about how hot it is outside. You can head out to the ice cream parlor, Serendipity Ice Cream Parlor. That is in Indiana, Griffith, Indiana, 120 North Griffith Boulevard. And check them out because that's a perfect place to bring your family for this time of the year. Also, Underdog Fantasy. You guys can check them out at underdogfantasy.com. And Budget Cars, also a proud sponsor here of the Chicago Sports Podcast, sponsors of the Madhouse.
Hey, before we pop out of here, did you get a chance to see Javon Dexter's screensaver?
No, I did not see that.
He has his screensaver. He said he put his 4 goals on his screensaver so he can visualize them every day. All pro, Pro Bowler, 8+ sacks, 15+ tackles for loss. And it's literally saved on his notes as a screenshot. I was like, dude, that guy is going to be good, man. I love Javon Dexter. I really do.
You know, Sean, you should do something like that where it says like Cubs win.
There's going to be a lot of blank spots on there.
Yeah. Dansby and don't make an error.
You want to know what's great? The Mets just got red hot. They won 7 in a row. They're playing the best baseball of the year. They're coming into Wrigley.
Yeah. By the way, Cubs fans, if you thought the Cubs were going to go after Pete Alonso, I don't think that's happening now because I think the Mets are only a game out of the wild. Like they're not trading anybody.
Dude, they're red hot right now, dude. I'm not looking forward. The Cubs will probably get swept by the Mets at home this weekend.
So that's going to be an interesting series. When is this? That starts Friday or does that start tomorrow? Friday. Okay, yeah. That'll be fun to watch. I'll be watching some of that this weekend.
Yeah. And don't forget Connor McDavid, y'all. He's going for that cup. Let's go.
It'll be tough, man,
Sean,
for the Panthers.
Hey, Sean, listen, I'm going to tell you why I've been real quiet since we've been talking baseball, because I don't really watch baseball anymore. But like I told you, I don't lie. And Cubs are going to win 2 out of 3.
Ooh.
I like where your head's at, Ed. I wish my heart was there.
That's what he needs to put on his phone, Ed. He needs to put 2 out of 3 Cubs win series this
That's
weekend.
what he needs, don't he?
Sean, we're giving you life advice, man. You better take advantage.
I'm going to put that on as soon as we get off this call.
I don't lie, Sean.
Hey, Ed, I'm going to be reaching out to you if they take 2 out of 3 from the Mets because they really, really need to.
Yeah, they do.
We'll check back in with we have to check back in next week to see if this all comes true. Then.
Darius is with Ed too. He thinks they're going to take 2 out of 3.
There you go, Darius.
What do you think, Cheryl? Cubs taking 2 out of 3?
As she's updating us with our scores. Thanks, Cheryl. By the way, thank you for updating our scores tonight. As always, you also do a really good job. So, well, thank you guys so much for watching the Monsters of the Madhouse Chicago Sports Podcast tonight. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel on our YouTube page. Check out our shows. We'll have more shows coming up here talking about Bears and everything Chicago sports. So for my friend Sean Lugo and for Ed Buckley, it's great to have you guys on tonight. Great to talk sports with you guys, talk everything Bears. And,
right on, guys. A lot of fun.
We appreciate you guys, and I
Hey.
appreciate everybody in the chat as well.
God bless everyone. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Hope you guys have an awesome night.